All right, Sunday night in the house. We're getting ready to fire up Shop Talk, doing a quick countdown, 5 minutes tonight till we go live so we can get on the air. We're running a little bit late, coming back from Daytona Biketoberfest, coming in hot, landing hard, but we got a good show lined up for you, man. Nancy Weems, good to see you in the house. Hey, remember to throw up your name, where you're from, so we can give you a little shout out, and hit that like and share button. Help us spread Shop Talk all over the land. Big thanks out to Chopper Town, Cycle Source Nation, everybody for keeping us on the airwaves. Another Sunday night, talking shit, talking shop. Get ready. 4 minutes. Wow, you guys are piling in tonight, man. Dan Benson, good to see you in from Tennessee. Chris in Baton Rouge, right on. One of my favorite hair metal bands, too. Antonito, Colorado. Carlos is in the house. I thought that said Carlos Castaneda for a minute. I was like, man, this is going to be a heavy show. Joe Sparrow, hi from Daytona. What's up, Joe? Doug Raquette, Walla Walla, Washington. Nick Hildebrittle in the house from the Mitten. Good to see all you guys here, man. Shop Talk rolling on. We're just a minute 55 out. Almost not enough time to catch my breath from that trip back from Florida. Hey, if you were in Biketoberfest, let us know where you were at and what you were doing. We didn't get to all of it, but the part we saw was kicking ass. Bill Stevens here. Good to see you, too. Lisa Ballard, Chop called in the house. Good to see you, Lisa. What's up from Tucson? Desert Rider. Minute 33. I hate these quick countdowns. This is Heather's fault. Poppy Broyles in the house. Right on. Gonna be a great show tonight. Jason Hallman on with us first and foremost. Cat cracks me up every time he's on the show. Tony Tello, back from southeast New Hampshire, cold as a witch's tit. Oh my goodness. Missy in the house. Daryl Huxall, Minnesota. Gotta be cold in Minnesota right now. Sacramento, California. Quentin Jones, Salem, Indiana in the house. Man, you guys are killing it tonight. Good to see everybody. What do you think? We're pretty close, right? We're pretty close. 40 seconds, 39. It's getting there. 3, 2, 1. All right, man. Time to get this one fired up, get it out of the shed and up on the road. It's time for another episode of Shop Talk. Here we go. Oh, that's good. All right, scooter tramps and chopper jockeys all across the land. It's 9 p.m.-ish on the East Coast. That means it's time for another episode of Shop Talk. I'm your host, Chris Callan, in the Dennis Kirk Motorcycle Studios, street level, still in the Mobile Command Center, coming back from Daytona. You can see I got my playoff beard going on, doing that late night driving in PJs and flip-flops, all that horse shit that you do to get across the country quick to get to a show. And what a show it was. But before we get into that, I'm going to bring in the crew. What's up, everybody? How's everyone doing tonight?
Oh, it's Monday.
Hey.
It's not Monday. It's
They're
Sunday.
all Mondays. When are you going to get that straight?
It's Sunday, man. It's Sunday. Get over with it. It's time. It's time to get your shit together.
Get over with it?
Get over with it.
I don't even know where you're coming from right now.
So
what?
I went to Daytona.
Oh, that's right.
You stayed home, loser.
Hey, somebody had to
We
stay
were
home
there.
and
I
hold
don't
this
know if it
shit
actually
down.
counts. We were there for like
It
a
counts.
day.
If you went to
We
Florida,
weren't
you
even
went
there
to
for
Florida.
72 hours.
Hey, you won something at Willie's. That's all that counts.
I know.
I
And
know.
listen, I argued with him too. I know nobody's going to believe that, but I'm like, dude. So you get a text message when you win a trophy at Willie's. You get a text message that says, "Hey, you won." And we always put bikes into, to donate and support, because Willie's is a huge undertaking, and they support military charities and the Arnie Foundation, what they do and everything.
And it is one of the best shows of
hands
the year,
down.
hands down.
Yep.
So.
But they send me the text, and I'm like, I'm still like a little kid when I get something at Willie's.
They sent me a
but
text. I figured I wasn't going to make it.
I know, right? I wanted you to get up on stage from there, but yeah, when they sent the text, I went to Roadside and Willie. I'm like, look, man, I can't take an award from here, especially Biketoberfest is always a slower show. I said, just give it to somebody else, and they argued with me about it, so I put it under your name.
Real nice.
So
blame me.
You're the egotistical son of a bitch that took that awards. Oh,
I'll take the hit.
lots of stuff to talk about tonight, but I think before we get into the news tonight, we're just going to go straight to guests, because we got a big show. I do want to thank you guys for tuning in. The social media is going crazy. If this is your first time listening to Shop Talk, what is it? It's 90 to 120 minutes of all the bullshit we can fit. Some news, some information, some entertainment. We bring on some guests, but the biggest thing is you. We want this to be a community program. So if you look over on that side,
Your side.
there's a chat box that's going off all the time. We want to know what your questions, concerns, if you have any questions for our guests, if you want us to bring anything up, if you just want to talk some shit, go ahead. This is your show as much as it is ours. Don't just sit back and listen to us babble on. Get involved.
Well, you babble on.
Right?
Me and Heather always say important stuff.
You especially.
Yeah, right.
The man with the beard. You know what I hate about the beard, dude, is like it automatically qualifies you as some kind of knowledgeable,
See, right?
been up the mountain bullshit.
Fording taught me that years ago.
Since when?
Jeff Fording told me before,
Well,
just keep growing it, you'll be good.
Not for you.
Oh.
I don't know what we have to do to qualify for Blondie.
We can put
See,
a
I
beard
don't
on.
understand. Like, for the most part, when men go gray, y'all, like that whole salt and pepper thing, you look distinguished and like ruggedly handsome. When women go gray, y'all just say we look old.
Dude, it's the new
It's-
thing now. Have you checked out? Like,
it's-
all the young girls are going gray. It's really weird.
Well,
Or-
I thought
or
you meant
purple.
the beard thing. The beard
Whichever
thing's
one.
been the new thing, but we need to
Well.
get you some of that cream.
This is solely hating to shave is what happened there.
All right, man. So listen, like I said, before we go into the news tonight, which
What
is
do you think I am,
normally
Pat Patterson?
our MO, we're gonna bring on our guests, and what a killer lineup. I'm not even gonna go into introductions or anything, because we just had him on the show. It doesn't seem like that long ago, and I'm not sure what personality he'll come in as first. So
I hope he sticks with the Polish Lithuanian guy he had before. I like that guy.
put your hands together. Help me welcome the show, Mr. Jason Hallman. What's up, buddy?
And everybody have good evening, I'm sure. Are you ready to go?
We need him and Pat Jansen at the same time.
Oh,
doing
no
that.
kidding. No
We
kidding.
wouldn't get anything done.
Yeah, right. Would laugh a lot.
That'd be a great
It
show.
would be funny though.
Yeah.
Probably would be funny. Missed you, Mark. I got to spend time in Chris's van this week. There was
I
no
thought we
candy
weren't
in
gonna
it.
talk
Did you
about
take my
that.
seat?
I
You
did.
should have
I
taken my
did.
seat. That would have been awesome.
No ice cream, no candy.
What?
But you went anyway. What
Then
does
I
that
then
say
I didn't
about
miss
your
anything.
person?
And I've the little pass through in the side of the van on the driver's side where he puts the power out. I'm gonna call that the glory hole.
Oh, that's awesome. I so love that. So yeah, it was crazy, man. Like at Willie's, we busted out our first use of the mobile command center in in the mobile capacity where we literally ran a wireless camera around Willie's, did live remotes from it, and dude, the results were insane from one of our channels, which like we put together this whole network of social media channels, and from one of our channels alone, those 3 live remotes we did from Willie's are up to 1 million reach, which is insane. That's killer.
I watched some of them today. The audio is great, the video is great. I was impressed. Yeah. I feel I completely inferior. Here in my little studio. Now I've got to get multiple monitors. I'm going to have to get a van,
Hey,
the glory hole on the side.
So your van cheap.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, you know what, man? I mean, this is the thing though. Jason was doing a lot of this shit before any of us, you know, with his podcast and everything. He's one of the up and coming people of the community of the motorcycle industry that I revere as, you know, absolutely an equal and a inspiration, really, because you're hip with the technology. You go after it the way that I do. So I see us doing a lot of this stuff together, and that brings us to Wheels of Steel. Yeah,
so this is our second annual Central Florida Wheels of Steel. It's an indoor custom motorcycle show. And what we wanted to do was we wanted to, obviously it's for a charity, so that everybody knows it's for a charity. It's for the Early Learning Coalition in Polk County, which serves 12,000 families at over 300 sites. And what they do basically is make sure that the kids get a head start that they need. And that's with state, federal, and local funds. And this is a filter to qualify. Think of it like a funnel, like all the funds come in and they come out the bottom of the funnel, and it passes through these folks here, and they qualify everybody. They have training for the teachers. They have, certain criteria that those sites need to meet. And they've also got a really awesome nursing program that receives funding from our show as well, that sticks with young mothers that are, financially vetted, and they need a little bit of help. And it's from pre-birth through 2 years. So they're assigned an actual nurse, partnering with Lakeland Regional Healthcare Systems, the local hospital here that's also involved in our show. So we've got some really strong community stakeholders. And so where I come in was the industry stakeholders, and try to create a group of people that are like-minded and that wanted to participate in the show. This being the second year, I asked my friends, Cody Childress, Curtis Hofmann, and Boosted Brad, and there's a good reason for each one of those individuals being asked. Not only are they incredibly talented and very dedicated to their craft and have put their time in the motorcycle industry, Cody does a ton for charity in the Abilene, Texas area. He and his wife and their family do a lot of stuff for children's charities and cancer foundations and stuff that are local to them. So Curtis Hofmann is one of the hamsters. And as we all know, in our industry, those individuals have, basically built a hospital in Sturgis. And I may be talking a little bit out of turn. I don't know if they bought the whole hospital or what it was, but I know that they
wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they raise several $100,000 a year to go to these charities. And so, and Brad he's got 3 kids at home. He produces fantastic motorcycles, fantastic paint jobs, and he's got his own parts line and stuff. And Brad's just been friends with us forever. Me and Cody and Brad, and even Curtis, we all have a tie to West Coast Choppers. And, we've kind of used that. That has been the springboard for our friendship. And so when it came time to come up with some really strong guys on the dais, these are the guys that I wanted to make sure that I got included in that whole program.
Well, before we get to that side of it, because the builder side of this too is a whole other story, but, got to give you some kudos just for the community direct part of what you're doing, because, so many times in the motorcycle industry, motorcycle people are known for being, charitable, and it's in our nature, it's ingrained in the things that we do, but there is nothing better than doing community direct work. The foundation of everything that's been good about the United States starts with that community approach to things. So I think that's, probably the most important anchor you have in all of this.
Yeah, it's super important. As a former educator myself, I understand the importance of getting a good head start on an education. And I know we kid around and we can do so, but Foundations like this and organizations like this, they have to have community stakeholders in order to be successful. And that's not like a rule of thumb. That's like a legitimate rule where they have like a match where this particular 501c has to make sure that they earn a certain amount of money from the community in order to get more monies from state and federal governments and other things too. And it goes into things way above my pay grade. But they came to me 2 years ago and asked me to come up with something that they could do. And I told them that what I wanted to do was I wanted to build an indoor custom motorcycle event that it really honored what the people, my peer group has done for the last 50 years and things that my dad did, 45 years ago. And so we wanted to create a really nice show. And Cody was there last year and can tell you that, we rented the nicest venue we can in town. We're at a very nice location. It's downtown. And, we had to move it because of COVID, but I'm really hoping that it stays in December because it's a better opportunity for riding. It's a better opportunity for more pedestrians to come through the door. And we really want a strong showing. And I went off the Wayne's World model. If you'll build it, they'll come. And so we want to we've got over 26,000 square foot indoor space, air conditioned, nice climate controlled, really well lit. And we had a great time last year. It was only a 1-day event. This year's going to be a 2-day.
Right on. Well, and then what I was saying a minute ago, that's the other side of this, is you really set down some strong tenets about, as a show, what you wanted to expect in a show that you were going to create like this. And that leads us to the guys that you asked to come on the show tonight, and even the rest of the builders. I see that you still have up on the site that there's more builders to be announced as it goes on.
Right. Well, so I guess I wanted to make sure that the builders felt welcome. And so, I asked my friends, what are we missing in a show? What do we need to do in a show? So if you look at the dais of people that we have on our list, I mean, there's some real strong talent there. And there's a couple others that we're still trying to get to come in. But these individuals that are on this page that you're scrolling through right now, these are individuals that are committed, and they're going to bring their crowd with them too. And that's what we wanted. We wanted to really bring it home.
Right on. You want to take a couple minutes here and introduce your guys and start bringing them on?
Yeah. So I guess the first one we're going to bring up Cody. Cody Childress is from Whoville Speed and Custom in Abilene, Texas. He's a fly dude. You can see that right now there on the screen. How you doing, Cody?
Doing good. How are you? I'm
very well on this wonderful Sunday afternoon. You look like you were at the Dallas Cowboys game, rooting for the Dallas Cowboys or something.
No Cowboys game today. They play tomorrow night, but I probably won't watch it. So I hadn't been watching any football.
Haven't you?
Right
on purpose or just as happenstance?
On purpose.
Right on.
So
neither have we. Heather's a tried and true Patriots fan, and I've been Steelers all my life, and we're doing the same thing.
I'm a diehard baseball fan, and I usually watch about 160 games a year, and I watched one game yesterday. First game I've watched all year. So, and that's by
when they brought
choice.
Politics into sports, I stepped back from it all.
As did I.
I have a big problem with the paper cutouts in baseball. Like, I saw my first game the other day with the paper cutout fan, and some of the paper cutouts have masks on. Yeah, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Yeah. Do we really need to take it there? Come on now.
Yeah, I just can't do it. I can't do it.
Right on. Well, let's talk about cool shit. Let's talk about motorcycles.
So, Cody, I just wondering if you want to give us kind of a rundown. This is your second year as an invited builder to the show. And, you do it, like I mentioned earlier, you guys do a lot of stuff. Your wife, Ange, and yourself, you do a lot of stuff for Hendricks Home for Children in Abilene. And there's also a cancer foundation that you guys put together a board for. And if you want to talk a little bit about how motorcycles ties into that and how, you come into Central Florida for our show for a second year in a row and what all that means.
For the local charities here, motorcycles just ties in a little bit different community than what the normal, I guess you could say, the norm brings in. So with motorcycling, I draw a little bit different crowd. So it's helped. It's just another avenue of being able to raise money. We've helped Hendricks Home for Children for 10 years. My wife's chaired the Cancer Services Network for the last 4 years. Her dad passed away from cancer, so it's something near and dear to her heart. And then I love kids, and so the Hendrick Home for Children is not an orphanage, but it's a place for kids without families or parents that have kids but don't have a home and they need a place to go and try to raise those kids in a good environment. So we've been involved with that for about 10 years, and I think they're not having it this year due to COVID, but I think in 10 years they've raised somewhere around the $7 million.
Right on.
We raise about $125,000 a year for cancer services, and it just seems to be growing every year. So that's what attracted me to the Wheels of Steel. I mean, I always like being around motorcycles, but if it can benefit children, or if there's a cause that it can benefit, it's just a plus for me. So I'm out of my league this year with the builders that are there. I felt like I got invited by default, which I'm cool with. So I'm happy to be there, and had a great time last year, and looking forward to being around all the guys this year. So
says he's there by default, but has won the FXR show 2 of the last 5 years, and then won the Dynamixer this year at the FXR show. And the only other years that he hasn't won it is Boosted Brad wins it. So he's not here by default. He's here because he's a talented guy and he's willing to come and participate. Yeah, there's his bike right there.
So he's modest, you say?
Yeah,
very modest. You never guess by the outfit, but he's very modest. So.
Yes, he's very low key. He doesn't say much.
Pulls the old Bo Cephas.
I do not say very much. I am pretty low key. So,
what are you building this year?
For what?
Or what are you bringing this year? What are you going to bring to Florida?
I don't know. If I told you, then you'd know.
He's gonna sneak one in.
You'll just have to wait. You'll just have to wait and see when I get there. So,
you're bringing that coat.
I hope it's this orange.
Dude,
I'm on his Facebook page right now. I'm Facebook stalking him.
That orange bike will be coming with me. I've got another Dyna that I might bring. I've got a Softail Slim I'm working on, and I've got an 84 FXRT that I'm working on, and I've got another project, but it won't be ready for this show. So.
Well, you're definitely not there by default based on what I said.
Right on.
I just like to say that,
Sounded great in conversation.
Who did the paint on that orange bike? Is that in-house?
Boosted Brad.
Oh yeah,
that's Boosted Brad.
Dude, that thing's sick.
He's my go-to guy for paint. So the bike's nice, but it wouldn't be as nice without that paint job. So it'd just be another FXR. So
right on. So you want to introduce one of your other guys?
Yeah, man. Let's bring in Curtis Hofmann.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about Curtis while I get this set up.
Curtis is he's the proprietor of Hofmann and Designs, and he has his own line of performance bagger products. And he's one of the early onset guys that figured out that you could, if you put performance parts on a bigger bike, you can actually make them perform. And I know there's a huge. This is a conversation that I'd be very careful that I don't go off on a tangent on. But Curtis is one of these guys that understands the mechanics of things well enough that, if you want to build a pro touring car, the Chevelle is probably the worst choice you can make, or an Impala. But if you put the right pieces and parts on it, you can still make it fast. You can still make it handle. And I rode the tail of the dragon 3 times with Curtis last weekend, and we were right on each other's ass the whole time. And we had a great time. And I mean, I was on an FXR. He was on his Drag Specialties cover bike. I mean, he's the dude builds a fantastic product and a fantastic motorcycle. And he won the V2 and Visionary show hands down last weekend.
Nice.
He brought fire. So
right on.
What's up, Curtis?
What's up, guys?
So I was talking a little bit earlier about the organization that you're involved with. Obviously, it's the fraternal organization, the Hamsters, and you guys are big on charities. And so how does all that tie in for you when you're looking at, why you would drive across the country to go to a motorcycle show and there's kids involved and all that stuff? I mean, you guys give a ton.
Yeah, I mean the biggest thing is as hamsters, that's what we do. I mean we're charitable. We're a part of the industry. It's just a great time, and you go to the Black Hills, and that's what we do. I mean it's all about charity, and more than that, it's all about the kids. I mean we raise a good amount of money every year for charities, for Lifescape, for everything about the Black Hills, but not only about the Black Hills, but about that community and the motorcycle industry. I mean, that's what the motorcycle industry is about. Like you guys were saying, is giving back, taking care of, and doing that kind of thing. Like that's the biggest part of it for me.
Yeah.
Your daughter actually celebrated her second birthday today, right? So
Yeah,
this is
today is
anything
actually
you
her
do
second birthday.
is obviously.
Yeah, so like my daughter is my world, and today is her second birthday. We did a birthday party for her, and we like, the hamsters as a community is a family. So like Donnie Smith was at the party today, and it was just one of those things that like my daughter is growing up around. I mean, I'm beyond thankful and grateful and just taken back for the community I'm a part of. And my daughter is just like literally growing up for it since the day she's born, a part of this. And when you see her interact with, Donnie and Rick Ward and all these guys that were there today, it's like, it's incredible. So, I mean, we're so thankful for what we get to do. It's literally just, as much as I can give back is incredible.
Well, and you say that about the.
Oh, go ahead, sir.
I was just going to say, you say that about the hamsters, and like it doesn't even just stop with, with children's charities, with medical needs. What was it this year you guys did for the museum? Like $60,000 or more that were raised for the Sturgis Museum. I mean, it's really all community. You guys really take care of the community.
Yeah, it's usually between 200 and 300 grand for Lifescape. This year, Dave Karowitz is a very large part of the motorcycle museum. So they brought in the motorcycle museum this year, and I think it was 60 or 70 grand that was raised for the Sturgis Hall of Fame Motorcycle Museum and things like that. So it's a very good point. I mean, it's definitely not just charity. That is a large chunk of it, but the motorcycle community as a whole, of making sure this grows and everything like that. I mean, I'm beyond blown away and very humble of being a part of a group like the Hamsters, and then what the Hamsters do for the community, for the custom world.
Right on.
One of the things that we're doing, Curtis, in our show is we've partnered with Bell Helmets to do, and Lakeland Regional Healthcare Systems. And we've created an initiative called Ride the Right Way. And so what we're doing is we're fitting the first 100 kids that come through the door. We're going to fit them with a proper helmet. And then Bell Helmets has been kind enough to donate 4 helmets that are going to go to an artist he's on Instagram called _mad_artistry. And he's going to, he's a father of 4, and 3 of his 4 children are on the autism spectrum. And he's going to design these helmets in such a fashion so that we can have them to kind of raffle off or auction off here at the show. Having a young kid isn't something that I've had in a long time. I mean, how are things differently as far as like safety stuff lately? With when you got a 2-year-old, I'm sure you're going to put her on a 2-wheeler at some point, or a Strider or something. If you bring her down here, we'll make sure we get her fitted as well. But how, as a parent, how does your outlook change on that?
So the biggest thing, I mean, I literally got her today, her first Strider bike. We put it together at the shop, and she started cruising around. So my first question is this like, are we talking back and forth? So like this artist, how many helmets is he raffling off?
He's doing 4 helmets for the whole piece, but he's yeah. So there's gonna be 4 helmets, like artistic helmets, pinstriped or painted or that type of thing. It's going to be not necessarily a helmet you wear. But.
Are they raffling them, or they don't? What are they doing? Or is it an auction?
Bell Helmets, we're gonna do an auction. And Bell Helmets donated the 4 helmets and is shipping them directly to the artist. And the artist is going to craft. Each of the 4 helmets are going to have a unique footprint or thumbprint on them.
Is he doing them right there at the show kind of a deal?
I don't think so. Just due to how far away he is. I think he's going to do them and then mail them to us.
Okay, so here's what I want to do. There's 4 helmets, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna start each one off at $500.
Wow, right on.
Wow.
Cool. Bitchin'.
The bidding has begun.
No, I mean this is what we do, right? I mean, like I have a 2-year-old. She just turned 2 today. Like kids are amazing. They're our future. I want to support however we can. So if I end up with 4 helmets for $2,000, I mean it is what it is. I'm beyond thankful to be able to offer $500. Let's start each one at $500.
That's
Cool,
awesome.
man. Yeah, that was not even why I was bringing that up, but I do appreciate that's awesome. That's
Jason,
cool.
who's the artist? We have a viewer asking.
So it is on Instagram. It is _mad_artistry, I believe. Let's take a look here. So it's Eduardo de la Cruz, and it's he's an artist, and he is _mad_artistry. And
So
he's got a couple.
There was a
We'll post
couple
it.
other questions there too, Heather.
Whatnot.
Yeah, somebody's looking for some information about the hamsters. I think maybe to make donations towards some of your causes. Is there a Facebook page or a website?
So there's not really a website or a Facebook page or anything like that. The biggest thing, most big motorcycle events and rallies, we have events. So like Yaffe puts on the Arizona Bike Week, and then there's Sturgis. Dave Perowitz puts on the Fall Foliage Run. Basically throughout the year, a lot of different things get put on that you can donate to, you can join, you can be a part of, and things like that, do the rides, and things like that. So if there's anything else like that you're not local to or anything, get a hold of me, get a hold of, Donnie Smith, Dave Perowitz, Corey Ness, any of those guys. And however you can help, it's greatly, greatly appreciated, because it does all go back to Lifescape and the Black Hills and Children's Hospital and things like that. I mean, it's really, that's what it's about.
So Jason, Nick Hildebrittle was asking from YouTube, I believe. Is there any way to bid on these? Now tell me, so where will the bidding actually go off? During the show?
Well, we were going to do it. I mean, honestly, it's such a new thing for us that this is one of those things where when you were talking to me about, the challenges of putting on a show, and aside from it being just a monumental amount of work that I can't believe that some people can put these shows on with the skeleton crews that they have. I don't know how we're going to do that yet. I mean, I was just bringing it up I wanted to discuss, to somebody who's got a young child of 2 that's starting to move around and going to be on 2 wheels on that, just bringing that safety aspect into the conversation.
Well, here's what I'll volunteer. If we organize a specific time during the show, during the 2 days of the show, if we organize a specific time and start advertising that all around the world, I will broadcast the auction of those helmets live. So we'll start at 500 for every one of the helmets, and we'll auction those live around the world. We'll pick a time that it can be, universally accepted time, and see how much we can generate out of those. We could broadcast it, live from the center, man, and make that happen.
Hell yeah, that's great. I appreciate that. And so, can we put Heather? Did you put the Mad Artistry in the comments?
Yes, I did.
Cool. Thank you. Cool. Well, Curtis, you won the show last week at V2 Visionary. Are you going to bring the blue bike?
I am. We're going to bring, it's going to be a smaller setup. We're going to bring a small trailer. What we're actually going to do, not to get into my personal life, but we're going to bring just 2 bikes, small trailer. I'm going to bring Ashley and Charlotte, and we're going to make kind of like a 2-week vacation out of the deal. We thrashed really hard for the V2 Visionary deal. We got the bike done. So I'm going to bring the V2 Visionary bike that we did, the
Nice.
kind of, I'm calling it the Naked Road King. And then I'm going to bring the Drag Specialties Fat Book cover bike. So we'll bring those two down, bring some gear, bring some parts, bring our displays and things like that. But no other bikes like than that. I mean, we're going to try and take more of a little end of the year vacation, but definitely come out and support the show because that's what we do. I mean, we're going to drive, I think it's 26 hours, 27 hours or something like that to you. So we're going to split it up. We're going to enjoy it.
Yeah, I think you're gonna be the furthest away driver, at least out of all the builders.
As long as Cam is there, I'm gonna be there.
Who is?
Cam.
Oh, Cam. Cam, yes. Pastor Cam will be in the house.
All right. Well, then I'm there.
I'm missing something.
Yeah, you won't miss it afterwards, though. You won't miss Cam. Cam will. He'll come right in and he will make sure that you remember him.
Right.
Yeah, we'll bring a couple. We're gonna bring two bikes, like I said. We'll bring the Road King from the V2 Visionaries deal, and we'll bring the drag bike.
Sweet. Well, hey, there you go. So you go to Hofmann Designs, Hofmann, 2 N's, 1 F. Go to Hofmann Designs. Check him out on Instagram at Hofmann Designs. And if you have a bagger, he makes fantastic carbon fiber stuff. Better than anybody's, hands down. If you've got a late model bagger, I'm not just saying that because he's my boy. I rode in front of and behind of both of his baggers that are loaded up with carbon fiber stuff, and it's badass. So, Curtis, I appreciate you. I'm going to say it here because I'll say it a bunch of times when you're down here, but I really appreciate you taking time to do this night. I really appreciate the fact that you're coming all the way from Minnesota down to hang out with us that weekend.
That's no joke.
No, absolutely. We really appreciate it. We're honored to be a part of it. We're honored to be able to come down. We're very fortunate to be able to do that. And that's the biggest thing is just coming down, supporting like-minded people and supporting the charities and things like that. I mean, that's what we're about.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Thank you, my friend. I'll see you soon.
So much.
Yes,
And
sir.
last, certainly not the least, is Boosted Brad, my favorite bike painter.
What's up?
Hey, man, how are you?
Doing good.
I left you to last because you hit on a couple different cylinders than everybody else does. And number one, you and I have been friends the longest out of all of us. You and I go way back to like 2007 through Chopper Dogs, and that was
Right.
when you had the gold bike, the West Coast Chopper, the 6-up one, right?
Yeah.
And I don't even know if you built an FXR. Like, yep, that kind of thing wasn't really going on just yet. Now flash forward 15 years later, 14 years later, or whatever, and you've got your parts line, you've got you do your bike builds, you got your service department at your shop, you're a world-class painter, and you had a new baby a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So you're gonna bring your kids down to the Central Florida Wheels of Steel and tell us a little bit about your setup you're gonna bring and your parts line and some of your drop some of your new parts on us.
Yeah. So we're kind of doing the same thing Curtis is doing. We're making it a family vacation. Going to stay down several days but we're going to set up a booth. Bring a lot of our parts are going to be on display. Going to bring the chopper and probably my FXR that we had at the V-Twin Visionary show. But yeah, we're definitely looking forward to it, and we appreciate the opportunity to come down there and be with you guys.
You're gonna have parts for sale on site, right? So people,
Yes.
you guys and gals that want to get your hands on these Boosted Brad parts. I run a bunch of his stuff on my bike. Cody runs a bunch of his stuff on his bikes. This stuff was made in America. It's top notch stuff, man. I really, I can't. My favorite part that you make. I have two favorite parts. One is the bear trap pedals, or
Right.
the pegs. I have those on my Dyna, and then I'm digging the Destroyer risers.
Yeah, the risers and the bear traps are definitely our best sellers. We sell more of those than anything else.
Yeah, those are sick.
I like them.
Thank you.
And Brad designs all his parts in house, and they kind of, it's funny. I've watched the arc of Brad's death metal racing product line over the last, like I said, several years, more than a decade. and it's been awesome watching
Yeah,
him do it. What's really awesome is when we go to Sturgis and I don't have to sit there in the booth and sell a bunch of stuff, but I watch them all just running around and selling.
What a prick.
Yeah. With friends like me, who needs enemies, right, Brad?
Right. Yeah, it's a madhouse. Definitely, you're the Sturgis FXR show. Yeah.
You know, it's funny. We were having a conversation the other day with who was I talking to? Josh Allison, and we were talking about the challenges. You know, everybody wants to talk a good game about Made in America and, you know, everything that goes along with that. And it is great, and it's something you definitely want to shoot for your goals, but especially for guys in our industry. And then when you go into our industry and you go into the corners, into the niche, if it's FXR or Chopper, like the proposition of bringing a new product to market is not, I mean, it's a many splendored thing, you know, and I say that with all sarcasm in my voice, because, man, you can spend hundreds of hours designing something on a computer, finally get it through a machine, go through all of the cost and everything of that, and then it finally gets to market. And if that product sucks, you're going to eat, you know, 3 or 4 of those before you get to that one that's going to make that money back. And hope, I mean, I liken it to when we used to do concert promotion, you know, 3 or 4 bad bands before you get the one that kicks ass and you sell enough tickets to make the money, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, we've had guys, of course, you get hit up nonstop about, you need to make this or you need to make that, and then we'll come out with something thinking it's going to be a huge hit and sell like 5, you know, and you get messages all the time. Will you make this? Will you make that? And yeah, that's definitely the downside to it. But we've been pretty lucky. We've come out with a lot of new parts, and they've been going over really well. I have a machining background. I worked at Caterpillar about 20 years ago.
Wow.
And we used to manufacture the big transmission components. So I basically just come up with the ideas, and I have 4 or 5 guys that I work with, and they draw the things. So I'm teaching myself CAD. I know some stuff, but I have a pretty good background in machining, so I kind of understand how the machining process works and some of the better ways to make the part. And I sit down with my guys and kind of tell them what I want, and they make it happen.
Right on.
Brad's also a family man too. He's got 3 kids. He's got 2 boys and a girl. They're all awesome kids, and he had them with him and his beautiful wife at the V-Twin Visionary show last weekend. And it's always nice that, you know, we're at that point in the game now where, you know, the family thing isn't. It's shifted. The family thing's not like a problem like it used to be that way, I feel. And that was one of the things we wanted to do with the Central Florida Wheels of Steel was make it a family event. So, you know, there's no colors. It's, you know, we want no one selling anything with profanity or anything that is, you know, be considered pornographic or that. And I know I'm me of all people shouldn't be the buzzkill for that. But I wasn't trying to please myself here. I was trying to get community stakeholders involved, and there's plenty of space for all of those other things. You know, benevolence is a weird thing because even though you're giving of all of your time and our, you know, all these friends of ours that are going to come down here and shut down their business for a few days for a good cause, we want to make sure that there's plenty of people participating down here when they get here. So it's not just an industry stakeholder show. It's pedestrians are actually getting their money's worth. And I wanted, that's why I'm, you know, everybody that I've asked is somebody that I like their work. I know what kind of people they are. I know kind of, I know that if something happens and they can't make it, it's going to be because they really couldn't make it. It wasn't because it wasn't important to them. Right. And so, I appreciate Brad and Cody and Curtis and, you know, and we'll have the other people on, also coming up because we've got some heavy hitters, and I wanted this show to be not only good for the community, but good for our community, and something that people wanted to come back and do again and again and again. And one of the things that we did was, and I think I talked to you about this before, Chris, and I don't know, Brad, if you know about this, but when we were asked to come up with the show, my wife and I from the ELC, they had all kinds of ideas, poker runs, things like that. And I said, no, I'm not interested in any of that. And they asked what I was interested in. I said, an indoor custom motorcycle show, one that's not weather dependent, one that's in a really nice venue, one that we can actually repeat year after year after year and create some sort of a legacy. So the way that we created the legacy was by my dad being a builder when I was a kid. My dad was a custom builder and competed regionally against all the guys that would come into our town in Detroit. And so we named a Riddler award, a Riddler style award in my dad's name. And the way it works is to keep all the politicking out of it. Any bike in the venue is eligible. One person builds the trophy, and then they select a bike. And then that person who wins that has to agree to build the trophy next year and pick the bike next year. So it becomes an artist-owned trophy, like a Stanley Cup kind of thing, but it's controlled by the artist, and there's only one person that does it every year. And we named that after my dad. And so last year's winner was Kyle Ray Rice. Brian Butera was the trophy builder and the bike selector. This year, Kyle Ray Rice is going to build the trophy, and he's going to make the selection. In each year, I want that to be something like a Riddler Award in Detroit that people want to win. So they'll come to the show just for that reason, or they'll build a bike just for that award.
Right on. Hey, I want to take 1 second real quick here because Sparky McLean has been chiming in that the guys down at the TTCC in Tennessee, so Tennessee something correctional institution,
Okay.
are big fans of the magazine, and I just want to give him a shout out. We send a lot of magazines into these joints, man, and we know, anything that you can do to pass time in doing time is a good thing. So, Sparky, we appreciate you and all the boys down there. Keep reading, keep your chin up, man. Sorry, that was public service.
No, that's
PBS.
public service announcement.
Yep.
So are all the builders still here? Because we had somebody that wanted to ask a builder question about fabrication and wanted general consensus. Are they all still here?
Yep.
So this gentleman, and Jared Rivard, he just rolled out his first gas tank ever. And he wants to know opinions on whether to seal or not to seal. And I know that's a big conversation with a lot
Give
of
that
people.
one to Cody.
Don't give it to me.
Yeah, no, you can't answer that.
Don't give it to me because Warren Lane made an ass out of me on the show that I asked him about it.
Yeah. Go for it,
So
Cody.
to seal or not to seal?
I seal all my tanks.
Do you?
I do.
Oh, you just made Chris very happy.
Well, not very
I
happy.
seal, I seal all my tanks.
It's a very intimidating question or proposition, man. I mean, I wanna go with the idea that, hey, I'm good enough and I'm positive. I pressure test. I do all the shit that I'm supposed to, but there's that little speck of doubt in the back of my head all the time that makes me want to seal. What do you use? What is your sealer of choice?
Red coat.
Is it? See, I love the red coat too.
Got to ask Brad now. Brad's the painter.
The reason I seal my tanks is because I've had a couple tanks go to body work and come back, and not Brad, but some local guys that have sanded through some welds, and I don't know about it, and have gotten in trouble after having the tank painted, and so now I just seal all my tanks and hope that they hold up. I mean, I'm sure there's several people say yeah, several people say nay, but I seal all mine. So.
Yeah, I seal all of mine also. I pressure test, but I use Pour 15, and I have used red coat before, but I always seal mine also.
Right on.
Curtis, did you seal the tank in the blue digger?
Pressure test them and seal them.
What do you use to seal your tank with?
So we've got a company here called Gas Tank Renew, and they seal everything. They'll pressure test it. They actually do a bake-on deal. We've been using it for probably close to 10 years. We've been using them exclusively, and it's for lack of better words, it's cheap insurance. Just seal that son of a bitch.
Yep.
So let's talk a little sidebar here for a minute. And I'm not going to say the name of the company, but I was real big for a minute on using a very popular retail 2-part epoxy deal. And I was using that for a minute, and I was really, really sure about it, but I found some things that I didn't dig. You guys have any
Yeah.
experience in that?
Yes.
Yeah, yes. Jason, here, wait. I'll put it over to you. Go ahead.
Yes, I have had problems. Well, I'm laughing because Cody knows the shitstorm that I'm in right now with a bike that I put together that was already put together by somebody else. And the fabricator took the lower third of the fuel tank and filled it with just clear epoxy because it leaked.
So he
Just
just
clear
filled the
epoxy.
whole bottom of the tank.
Wait,
Yeah,
what?
like we cut the back of the tank off and it weighed 8.5 pounds.
No.
That's
Yeah.
Hand to
awesome.
God.
Oh my gosh.
Hand to God, I've been
Cody,
fighting it
Cody,
for a
was that
while.
you?
Couldn't figure it out.
What's that?
Cody, was that you?
What's that? Was it me? No. Wasn't me.
No, he just knows about it because Cody's on the receiving end of all my frantic phone calls during the day. Brad's always painting, so I can't call up him and rattle his cage.
I'm just playing with my kid all day. I don't work anymore.
God love you.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so that was my one thing. Up until that point, up until maybe 3 or 4 tanks ago, I was always doing the red coat thing, and it was the radiator shop that turned me on to that. Like, we used to take every tank to radiator shop right up the street here, and they do the caustic wash, put the red coat in. I never had a single problem with it. And man, like when this stuff failed on me, I was just like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah,
I had a bodywork guy one time that was wet sanding a tank and filled the tank full of water and then let it sit for, I don't know, probably 3 months with water in it.
Whoa.
So it rusted the inside of the tank out. Well, with the bodywork on top of it, I couldn't see it.
Yeah, nice
So the
guy.
first time I put gas in it, so that's one of the other reasons I started sealing all my tanks as well. Just a cheap insurance, like Curtis said.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, you never send anything back to that guy.
No, I did not.
Yeah, that
I
would
did
be
not.
it. Or thanked them, Hey, thanks a lot. It's not like it's hard enough in the first place to have somebody doing something stupid like that to you.
yeah.
Amen.
Hey, let's talk about paint for a minute, man, because while we're sitting here talking to you guys, I'm going through a lot of the websites and stuff, and damn,
Right?
damn,
Look at that thing.
That's boosted Brad right there, baby.
Yeah, man.
That's Cody's FXR. If you go through one of the pages, somebody got that tattooed on their hand recently. I don't know if Brad
Just,
has
dude,
that on.
honestly, hats
Yeah,
off.
I don't know who that was, but yeah, I saw that.
Paint
He's a
job
local
after
kid
paint
here.
job. Insane.
That was one of Cody's friends, I think.
Yeah.
Yep, one of Cody's buddies. See if I can find it.
Incredible. Incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's nuts. People don't realize what goes into those paint jobs. The
I have no
hours and
clue.
hours.
Oh, dude.
And one little tiny mistake just freaking throws you back for it's painstaking.
Brad, how long you been painting?
I've been painting for 20 years. It's all pretty much self-taught. Early days, I couldn't afford to pay anybody to paint a bike how I wanted. And I always looked up to Pete Finland and his work. And I wanted a bike painted in that style. And so I started painting my own bikes. And after painting my first Harley, I don't know, 4 or 5 times, I guess it was, I finally kind of got it how I wanted it, and had friends that saw my work and just started painting for my buddies, and it kind of grew from that.
We had not too long ago, we had Mr. Pirowitz on the show, and we talked about the fact that, like, in the time of his career, how the product has changed. You know what I mean? And like,
Oh yeah,
we're super lucky today with everything comes with a list of instructions. You wait precisely this time, you measure it out to this, and it's a lot more forgiving. Not that there's still not absolute train wrecks that happen, but we were talking about in his career the amount of time, and even in 20 years, like in your time of doing it, man, how much the chemicals have changed.
Oh yeah, yeah. And not only that, the cost of paint has skyrocketed. I mean, it's crazy. I remember when I first started buying House of Color, like a quart of base coat, it would be, $40, 45. I think now I can't remember what the last quart was I bought, but I'm wanting to say it was around $100.
Yep.
So yeah, it's gone up big time.
Yeah, I just
Seems
bought
like within the last 5 years.
Yeah, I just bought a little box of few quarts, a little different colors. It was like $340 just for the
Yeah.
small box, and then like I said, you get into it and you start doing the work, and you have one little misstep, and like, customer, or people don't realize that what goes into it. Not only the money, but the painstaking hours that you put into it's just off the chart. It's off the charts. So
Exactly.
kudos
Yeah.
to anybody that goes that deep in their paint jobs.
Yep.
Because I'll be bald if I start doing that full time again. So I'm done with it.
Right on. Well, man, this has been a killer show. Jason, I caught you searching.
No, I'm trying to. Yeah, I'm searching.
He's looking for that hand.
We gotta learn how to do that a little bit more. No, I was actually on Curtis's website looking. I was trying to find one of the bikes that he had there this weekend. It was the red and gold one at the front there. I was gonna text it over to.
What's that new bike you just did up? That drag looking bagger.
The blue one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that bike.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I mean, that was kind of my step outside the box and
That's why I
brainchild,
like it.
and just go off the wall. It was, honestly, a little bit about us. I don't want to say we get pigeonholed in what we do, but we get into like a repetition. And when we get into repetition, we just say, fuck it, and we're done. And that was one of those things of I'm ingrained in custom motorcycles, and obviously being a hamster, watching what Dave, Donnie, Arlen, Barry, all those guys did back in the 70s and 80s and 90s and even 2000s. I wanted to do something that took what I do of today, which is obviously baggers, and bring style from those different eras into a new bagger where it's going to be rubber mounted, it's going to ride smooth, it's going to stop like a son of a bitch, and things like that. And that's where me and my fab guy just kind of said, this is what we're doing, and let's step outside the box and give everybody something they haven't seen on a bagger platform. Was the biggest thing.
Yeah, it turned out good. I mean, I dig it.
I appreciate it. I mean, it's definitely something different. And, like today, Donnie was out at my shop and he's like, wow. Like, he's like, definitely didn't expect this from you. And that's huge to me, is when we can step outside the box where people don't expect it from us, then I feel we did our job.
Okay.
Hey, speaking of the bagger platform and so much of the stuff that's moving towards performance-oriented motorcycles today, I kind of want to open this up to all three of you to talk about. What do you think about the King of the Baggers deal that's going on at Infineon Racetrack?
Oh, please let me talk first.
Go ahead. It's up. You're up.
I think it's a really cool idea. I'm definitely willing to go on the record of saying that it's a badass deal, but it got corporatized. Like, they could have done so much more with it, and they kind of missed the grassroots feel of what performance baggers are. Like, I've seen all the race team, all the bikes that are in it, and they're fucking gnarly. Like, they're badass bikes, but they're not what guys are going to take on the street. And the thing about the performance bagger movement is it's street. It's, all of the competition we see now of, oh, this guy's coming out with lighter carbon fiber than what we've been doing for the last 4 years. Like, okay, yes, it's possible, but is it really going to get put on the street? And am I going to tune into the King of the Baggers? Hell yeah, I am. I think it's fucking rad. I really do. But I think it's more commercialized than really being a part of, what I do and what Boosted Brad does and what we provide to that niche market. I think, not a lot of our parts are getting put on the race bikes. Neither are, and same as Boost and Brad's parts. Not a lot of parts are getting put on those bikes. But you look at the performance bagger niche, Boost and Brad and our parts, they're everywhere when it comes to it. I think it's a commercialization of something that's not a commercialized style.
But
And that's where it's a really different deal. I think it's rad. I think it'd be fun as hell to ride any of those bikes. I think it'd be exhilarating to sit in the stands and watch these guys throw these bikes around that track. But it's not what the quote unquote performance bagger niche market is about.
don't you think with the whole nature of Moto America, super bikes, like the whole deal, I mean, those bikes in general forever, for the history of the races, were always built with unobtainium, and even though they were built off factory spec chassis and stuff, you never really felt like those bikes were the same bike that you were going to go into the dealership and purchase. But at the end of the day, what it does for brand awareness, model awareness, and everything else, do you think similarly that'll do the kind of work for your part of the industry at the end of the day?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more in the fact of, yes, it does bring some brand awareness and things like that to it, but I truly do believe that the guys that are on a racetrack or the guys that are on a drag strip, they're not the everyday rider type of guys.
Absolutely.
And that's where we see a difference in something like that. Can I get behind it? Yeah, I can get behind it to an extent, but my focus, and I'm gonna guess, and I don't mean to speak out of turn for Brad, but I do believe our focus is the everyday guys, the guys that were out riding with us last weekend at the Vito and Visionaries deal. And, and things like that, where you're out to have a fucking good time. And that's where there's a huge difference in what's going on. Do I think they're going to get spectators? Yeah, they're definitely going to get spectators, but I've got a lot of really good friends that are racers and things like that. And I don't want to say that it's kind of like a laughing stock or laughing joke or anything like that, but it's a whole different deal where I focus on the everyday guy. I mean, that's what I am. That's what Brad is. That's what Cody is. We're all everyday guys. We're not going out there to try and, break our necks and slide a bike down the track. I mean, there's a difference in it. And the market is way, way, way too small to think, in my opinion, and I could be dead wrong. Like I said, I mean, what you're putting up right now, like, that's fucking rad, but it's not for the everyday guy.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I think they should do a street version, though. You know what I mean? Like a run with your run with your brung kind of thing.
You know what I think? If anything that would come out of this, and I mean, really, this is kind of a pilot for what could be opportunities. What would be great? Like, can you imagine if this opened up the gate to bring stuff down to like Wira and shit like that? That you saw regional races where it would end up being more of the street guy, maybe.
'Cause keep in mind, I started in drag racing, and a lot of the guys that drag raced rode to that track. So as much as the street drag guys, and I agree with you, I don't think that the guys that are actually racing those big corporate bikes are, the guy you're angling to. But in all reality, that's going to draw, that's going to draw more attention to the product that you guys build and throw into your direction also. So I think it's awesome. But I agree with you. I think they should do a street version of that racing. That definitely would make a big difference.
That was what I was saying earlier when I was talking about Curtis's bikes being, Brad builds mostly FXRs. Cody builds a lot of FXRs and choppers, but Curtis being somebody that is ushering in a lot of new product for the bagger chassis, it's like the Chevelle or the Impala are not the best pro touring cars, but if you equip them correctly and learn how to drive them and find the sweet spot and give yourself a little bit of a challenge, it's pretty cool seeing a big old, corporate GM car run around a pro touring thing. Yeah. So it's kind of in the same vein. Like I said, I rode with Curtis all last weekend on the Tail of the Dragon and that, and his bikes, they handle amazing. I mean, those dudes were almost dragging their knees all the way through, going plenty fast. It was awesome. So
And listen, don't get me wrong. Like my magazine on the bottom of our masthead, it says grassroots. I'm all about grassroots, and I'm all about low dollar and being on the low budget rocker program. I'm just excited that for the first time in quite a while, in this segment, there's something new. Yeah, I mean it's encouraging, at least.
So
go ahead.
I'm super, like I said, I'm super excited about it. When this whole thing got released, I mean, obviously we had a little bit, I'm not going to say a huge amount of inside information to this, but when we did the drag cover bike, we had a lot, a little bit of a, hey, this is what's coming. What do you think? And I originally thought it was super badass because, hey, we're going to let anybody kind of enter this deal, and we really want to push the performance bagger market. Well, then it started to turn into, okay, it's big corporate only. It's, you have to be a vendor with us. You have to spend X amount of dollars. You have to only use X amount of parts.
Yeah.
You have to hire a racer only that's certified and things like that. So it really kind of wiped out the grassroots side
quickly.
The cool factor.
Yeah, and that's, to me, like, I'm not going to discredit any of them because they're all badass riders. They're all badass bikes. Don't get me wrong. But what it started out as and the original concept idea is different than what it turned into and morphed into. I truly believe there is a lot of other companies that should have been involved in something like this, and a lot of other riders that weren't these, MotoGP guys and things like that, because there are other guys that understand our culture and what we do and all of that have nothing to do with this now.
Yeah.
And now you have, like I said, there's a lot of badass riders and a lot of badass bikes involved. I mean, all of them, they're rad bikes. They're incredible riders, but the riders aren't a part of this culture. They're grabbing riders from, the sport bike world, and and things like that. And they're trying to grab other attention to bring it into a grassroots movement, and that's where, I mean, I could spout off a half a dozen companies that should have been a part of it, in my opinion, and then 10 riders that should have been a part of it, in my opinion, that aren't a part of it. And that's where, if they were trying to capitalize on performance baggers, that's the route that I think they should have went, because you would have grasped, oh, I know that guy. Oh, I know that company. Oh, I buy from that company, and things like that. But instead they made it a corporatized, you can't be a part of this type of event.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what I'd like to do, Curtis, is maybe after the thing runs, let's get back together. Let's bring you on the show, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. And we can bring a few guys from the performance bagger industry and talk about it as a round table and see if there's interest in other places. Maybe this is something that can move out of that arena into something that's more reachable for the average guys.
Yeah, I mean, I really do believe it's a hell of a platform. It's a hell of an idea. And I mean, I follow what you guys do. I've got unbelievable amount of respect for what you guys do. And you guys understand that grassroots side of things.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the biggest thing is, when I have conversations with people day in and day out, like, the performance bagger movement, it's grassroots. It's buddies. They want to hang out. They want to have a good time. And that's where I really do compare it to a lot of the chopper side of things. There's a lot of similarities where it's grassroots. I mean, there's no better words than that. There could be a hell of a turnout for a grassroots event to see these guys putting out their bikes. And I mean, there's some incredibly talented guys that are riding on the street that weren't allowed to be in this event.
Well, let's take a look at it even compared to motocross, because of course, like, growing up, everybody wants to be a rider Ricky Carmichael's level, but those factory bikes, again, they're built with unobtainium. They're doing superhuman shit on them. It's really fueled by the passion that happens all the way down at the district motocross level, and the difference that happened between when there were two-stroke motorcycles and you could do a top end at the side of a track for $600, and when that whole industry shifted and they moved to four-stroke motorcycles, all of a sudden the average guy with a son couldn't go to the track. It wasn't that same endeavor, and it changed the entire sport from the ground up. So
Yep.
I think in almost all motorcycling, that grassroots component is the necessary building blocks that builds a foundation to any part of it.
Yeah, I mean that's my thing. Like I'm 100% for like the grassroots, the home built, the things like that. I mean, it's in years past, we did a lot of the unobtainable, motorcycles and things like that we built. And at the end of the day, it's way fucking cooler to be like, that dude wants to run our parts. That dude wants to run Boosted Brad's parts. He wants it painted by them, and he wants to go out and thrash it. And there is so much more that's cooler about something like that than, I got, a 200 grand budget, and there's really no rules except the rule book. And being a custom guy through and through, I know these other guys that are on here with me, but Brad and Cody, we don't play by the rules when we build a bike. Like there isn't rules, and that's where it's fun. And to limit any of us isn't fun. Like I know I lose interest. I can almost guarantee the other guys are losing interest too. Like grassroots is fun, and especially in the performance bagger world, whether it be let's take the word bagger out of it, but Dynas, Softails, even Sportsters, baggers, anything like that, there's so much more fun. Like I'm having way more fun being a part of the grassroots than I did when we were a part of building stuff and hitting big shows and things like that. I do believe that there is a lot of good that can come out of what we're all doing today.
Absolutely. Well, Jason, listen, tell everybody about the show again. I want to thank all three of you gentlemen for spending some time with us. A great conversation. I would love to individually have each of you back on the show for your own segment where we can spend, some good time talking, because three outstanding guests. Jason, you were okay. I mean, no, but tell everybody about the show again. I mean, we're going to be doing this at least one more time with some other guys before the show. So hit them up at, what is the official site?
So the official site is cfwheelsofsteel.com. On Instagram, it's CF Wheels of Steel Show. It's December 5th and 6th at the RP Funding Center in downtown Lakeland, Florida. It is presented by Geico, and we have obviously some fantastic other stakeholders in the community. If you want to show a bike, please bring your bike down to show it. If you want to be a vendor, there's plenty of vendor spots left. There's plenty of opportunity for everyone to be included. And it's a family-friendly show. First 100 kids through the door are going to be fitted properly for a bicycle helmet by our partners, Lakeland Regional Healthcare Systems. And then obviously I want to give out a big shout out to Bell Helmets for providing us with the 4 helmets to be auctioned off. And Curtis, thank you for starting that out as high as you did. I appreciate it.
And wait a minute, we definitely got to talk about your show ambassador.
Yes. And so, one of the things we wanted to do is we wanted to make sure we had professional people involved in every aspect of the show. And so last year, we hired somebody that was a little more local based, and I wanted to absolutely have somebody that had a strong social media following, had been to every show of any substance in the world. And so, being that, we're good friends, I reached out to Jeff G. Holt and the V-Twin Visionary, and we struck a deal so he could be our show ambassador. And this is one of those deals where, just like, Cody says, well, he got picked by default to come out here. It wasn't by default. It was definitely by plan.
Yep.
And Jeff G, that's no accident either. I was glad that he had room in his calendar for us, but I'm hoping that this is something that gets done in perpetuity, and that I just get to kind of be the guy behind the scenes and making sure that box gets full, and that everybody has a good time, and that there's plenty of quality motorcycles to be viewed, and we have the best builders on the planet. And I really feel like I'm pretty proud of this year, of the level of builders that we were able to get involved in the show, and gosh, if it just keeps going like this, it's going to be a major success, and I'm super excited.
Yes, sir. Well, I'll tell you what, you guys are definitely bringing the A-list right out of the gate. And again, I want to thank you for being on Shop Talk with us and spending the time to do this here, and for everything you're doing for the show.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Hey, definitely.
Thanks,
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. How'd you end up with cool guys like that hanging out with you? What are you paying them, man?
Dude, I don't know.
I don't want to hear it.
Just
Not enough.
not enough. Oh, I thought they were gone already. I can't even make up anything cool.
See?
No, actually, I got stuck. They've all been stuck with me at one time or another. So I'm like a bad habit, man.
He said it.
Yeah.
Right on, man. Well, listen, I'm going to let you guys go so we can move on with the show, but thank you individually, each one of you, for being here. And for our 3 guests that were on tonight, we'll definitely be getting a hold of you about individual appearances on Shop Talk. Make sure you hit up the website, get involved. If nobody has anything really to do, don't lie to me, so get to the show. Come down and hang out with us. We're going to be doing lots of stuff between Jason and Source Media. We're going to announce a bunch of stuff that we're doing coming up to this thing, so keep your ears and eyes open, ready to receive that information. And Jason, my brother, one more time, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Chris, for everything you're doing for us. And I'm looking forward to working with you on lots of stuff. And check out my podcast, the Garage Built Podcast, on Spotify.
There you go.
Try to have as many industry people on there as I can.
One of the original motorcycle podcasts, rocking it since when?
2012.
That's what's up. All right, man.
See you, buddy.
So, crew, we got some news. We still have another guest waiting in the wings.
Another guest?
We do.
It's a party.
Mr. Rob
You
Keller's
packed them
coming
in tonight.
Yeah.
Holy gamoly.
But we're gonna take 2 seconds here and hear a word from our sponsors, pay some bills for the show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Shop Talk.
Dennis Kirk started back in 1969. At the time, we were called All-American Snowmobile Parts. Specializing in snowmobile parts and accessories, All-American Snowmobile Parts quickly grew, taking over the Midwest as one of the largest snowmobile accessory companies to date. The company quickly grew into what is now known as Dennis Kirk, and from there, Dennis Kirk branched out from the snowmobiles and took on the powersport industry head-on, diving into everything from watercraft, ATV, UTV, dirt bike, and motorcycle parts, while staying true to the original roots of its snowmobile heritage. Dennis Kirk created product catalogs that were released every year from 1970 to 2017 that contained an astronomical number of product. Dennis Kirk had since moved 100% online, helping to keep customers up to date with the latest in sales and product. With over 160,000 items in stock and still growing, Dennis Kirk continues to stay a customer-focused company.
Since the beginning, we've only had one thing in mind, and that's you, the customer. We want you to get the parts as fast and as easy as you possibly can so you can get out and ride and spend less time waiting for your parts.
I think the best part of working at Dennis Kirk is the passion that we all have for the industry, and that we can pass that passion along to our customers in one way or another.
We were there when your granddad needed his first helmet.
We were here when your mom needed her first pair of riding boots.
We were here when you got your first jersey.
We have employees that have been here for more than 40 years. Would have been longer, but they keep retiring on us.
Don't worry, we'll be here for your family too. We're not going anywhere.
Dennis Kirk would like to say thank you.
To another 50 years.
To another 50 years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
right, you're watching Shop Talk. Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We go live with 90 to 120 minutes, all the bullshit we can fit. Coming to you through the courtesy of the Dennis Kirk Motorcycle Studios here, street level at Cycle Source Magazine headquarters. I'm Chris Callan. I'm glad to be your host through the rest of this show. I know we're going a little long tonight. Glad you guys are hanging out with us. Super to see all your comments and questions, man. We're packing this stuff up. Make sure you're watching our other shows here on the Source Media Network. On Tuesdays, we do Coast to Coast with Chris Summer Simmons and Michael Lichter. On Wednesdays, the Cannonball Chronicles with Jason Sims and Rob Nussbaum. Sundays coming back very soon, the Cyber Swap Meet. It's been one of our favorite shows. We're doing a little reorganization with that so we can sell some more parts and stuff, have a little more effective parts game with that. But, you know, there's been so much bad news in 2020. So many people that we lost, so many stories, man. They're just, it's hard to bear. And one of our very own here at Cycle Source Magazine, Rob Keller, was involved in an accident in this year's Hoka Hey motorcycle run. And, man, it was really hard to hear the news. Even harder to wait for him to get back into the area so we could find out, you know, where he's at and, you know, help him through his road to recovery. Mark, you've known Rob for a good long time, just like me. Yep. You know, we're all praying for him. But not too very long ago, you and I both got a call that he was on his way home.
Yeah. It was pretty. The big one was the call on Friday from him directly. Was freaking. I answered that phone. I was like blown away. It was so good to hear his voice. Yeah. And it was almost like the day I watched the video that Karen had posted of him eating. I said, brought me and Dana to tears. Like it was, you know, Rob's family. He's been around us forever, him and Karen. So what a great sight that was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah. So for you guys that don't know, Rob, for, you know, seems like forever, was our test ride editor, did a lot of the new Harley models, the new Indians, everything that came around that he could get a leg over. He was writing about for the magazine. He and I did the first ever Hoka Hey. But then subsequent to that, I'm not sure that there's a year that he missed. And if you don't know what the Hoka Hey race is, man, I'm not even going to talk about it until we get Rob on the phone. But please put your hands together and help me welcome to the show. I'm very proud to say, on his road to recovery, Mr. Rob Keller. Rob, how you doing?
I'm very lucky to be here and very blessed to be here for sure.
Yes, sir. It's good to see you, buddy. So
thanks for having me on the show.
Let's talk about first the Hoka Hey motorcycle race and tell everybody a little bit of a background of what that thing is and why somebody would ever want to do it.
Well, the Hoka Hey Motorcycle Challenge is that's actually what it is. It's a challenge. It's they run it every other year now. So this year they ran it. Next year they won't. But it's a 10,000 mile challenge on 2-lane roads, and you have to ride a V-twin, American-made V-twin. That's one of the rules. And then you have to sleep on the ground next to your motorcycle. There's no motels. It's all 2-lane roads, and you're going by turn directions. And with all the GPS and stuff that's out there now, you're not supposed to use it. It's like the honor system, and you got to try to find these roads. And if you get off course, you got to get back on course where you got off course, so that you complete the challenge. And each motorcycle was equipped with a tracker, so your family and friends can watch you as you ride across the country on these 2-lane roads, and keep track of where you're at and your progress and who's out in front, who's in the back. It's not about the winner. It's not about being there first. It's about completing the challenge, and they give you 12 days usually to get it done, and but they'll be waiting at the finish line for you as long as you're still on track and not on the road. There'll be somebody at the finish line waiting for you to cross. And the premise of the Hoka Hey Motorcycle Challenge has changed a little bit over the years, and now it gives riders an opportunity to raise money for a charity that they would like to sponsor. For example, my charity this year was for the homeless vets of Pittsburgh, and it gave me an opportunity to put together a benefit locally here where I had 4 or 5 bands play, and we charged an admission to get in, and we raised money from that, and then 50-50 raffle tickets. We had some baskets that we sold tickets for, and gave those prizes away. And this year, with 128 riders that left the starting gate, between all those riders and their charities, we were able to raise 500 and almost 50,000, or almost 500 and well over $500,000. I don't know the exact amount. I was trying to think of what it was, but it's just a great way to raise money. And then we also raised money, about $22,000, for the Muskogee Native American tribe down in Florida, where the ride started in Panama City, Florida.
Right on, man. Now the original and first Hoka Hey, put together by, or at least spearheaded by Jim Red Cloud, very dear brother to both of us. Originally, I know that coming into that, I thought I was a badass, and I thought I was going to go and tear shit up at the Hoka Hey, and I know I saw many faces that probably had that in the back of their minds, and amazing how this thing emotionally breaks you down and takes that shit out of you during the challenge, right?
Yeah, I think the first challenge was nobody knew what to expect. I don't think there had ever been anything like this before. And whenever Jim Red Cloud gave the riders meeting, which you didn't make it to the riders meeting.
Yeah.
There were some issues that came about, but whenever Jim told us what we were doing and how it was, we were working on the honor system. And actually, the first Hoka Hey, he gave away $500,000 to the first person that got from Key West, Florida to Homer, Alaska. And that was a race. That was more of a race than a challenge, so people thought. But once you got out on the road and you realized that 10,000 miles following instructions, it was a lot more difficult, and sleeping on the ground and
no sleep, the heat,
rain, then the heat of the desert, and up in the mountains, you'd be at 100 degrees during the day and 40 degrees at night, and it was tough. It was tough on everybody.
Yes, sir. Well, has there been a year that you've missed? Have you done every single one of them? Because I kind of feel like you did.
No, I've been a part of every one of them in one way, in one form or another. Whether it's being at the starting line or being at the finish line, watching the riders come across. I've competed in 3 of them. This year being my 3rd one, where I actually, it's a tough thing. You got to take a lot of time off of work to go do this, because you need to get to the starting line, wherever that's at, and then you ride from the starting line, do 10,000 miles. Hopefully you get it done in 12, 15, 14 days, something of that, and then you got to get back home. So you need about a month actually to do this ride. So it's tough to get all the funds together and to be able to do it. And I've been blessed to be able to do it 3 times.
Right on.
I'm looking forward to. I may get to do it again. I'm still here, and I love the challenge myself. Watching the new riders come in, and like I said, I've been at the starting line and the finish line, just trying to give support to the riders that do ride. And this year we made over 1,000 riders that have tried the Hoka Hey challenge. So we're Jim Red Cloud wanted to get 1,000 riders, and this year we surpassed that 1,000 rider mark. So.
Well, let's talk about this year. So why don't you take us through the events of that led up to where you were in North Carolina and what happened on that night?
Well, the events, we started down in Panama City, and As we took off, we headed out and ended up going through Texas. And the first day, we almost every rider rode over 1,000 miles the first day, and it was an easy ride up to that point. And then we got to the Mexican border and we rode the border wall, Route 9 coming up out of Mexico. And from there, we took a bunch of routes through New Mexico, which is a beautiful, absolutely beautiful state to ride through. Some of the ride was the 2016 ride that I did. We rode it backwards, so I recognized a lot of the roads out there, just riding them backwards, and that was a pretty cool thing to do, because whenever you ride, they take you on the most beautiful roads in the country. There's no doubt that you're going to see things that are just, they'll take you to national landmarks, national parks, and just the most beautiful places in this country. So you just get to enjoy that. And then we rode up through the Arizona and into Utah, and Utah is just amazing. One of the favorite things that I was riding with a fellow Hoka Hey rider, Bruce Rhymes, and he was excited. We came across the mile marker where Forrest Gump stopped his run whenever he just so it was a big deal to Bruce. He says, "Man, we're going to be passing that mile marker." He said, "No matter what, I want to stop there, and we're going to get some pictures." And we did, and that's the thing about the beauty of the Hoka Hey is, you can ride that ride. There's a lot of IBA riders that'll get out there and, they have something to prove. Whereas there's riders like myself that just want to get it completed, and go out there and take the pictures and enjoy the ride. It's not about how fast I get it done. It's about the quality of the ride. You want to get out there and it's, you're spending all this money to go do this ride. You're taking time off of work. You might as well enjoy it,
Yeah, right.
And to get you get to ride with some people here and there. You'll meet up with other riders, and everyone has a story to tell. I know you've heard several great stories from other riders. And one of my favorite stories this year, I was continued riding. I pulled into this gas station, just a mom and pop gas station up in New York along the Great Lakes. I pulled in there and I went in to get, I filled up with gas and went in to pay my gas bill, get a drink. And the phone rings, the actual landline in the shop there rings. And the attendant picks up the phone and he says, "It's for you." And I was as surprised as he was. And I got on the phone, and here it's a friend of mine that was watching me on the tracker. And he says, "Hey, you're at my buddy's gas station there." He says, "I grew up there. That's my hometown. If you want to get down the road there, my house is down the road. You can take a shower, and if you have time, And that was pretty cool. That's how well the tracking system actually works on this ride with fleet tracking. So I continued on to the last checkpoint from that point, which was in Vermont. And at Vermont, there was a Harley Davidson dealership in Vermont, and I'm bad I don't remember the name of the dealership, but they had a shower, a washer and dryer. So I was able to, and I needed to get my motorcycle serviced. All the checkpoints are at Harley Davidson dealerships, and they a lot of guys ride Indians, which it's kind of tough on those guys, because if they need to get to an Indian dealership, it may be a little harder. But on this ride, they actually had an Indian dealership close to the Harley dealership at one point, so they had an opportunity to service their motorcycles as well. But I had my motorcycle service, got a shower, washed all my clothes, and I went to pay my bill for my tires, and this they come out and handed me my bill, and they said it was taken care of. Someone was watching me, and they paid for my whole entire service. So that was incredible. That's that. So I'm on my way from there. And unfortunately, I don't remember anything from that checkpoint because of the accident. All I know from there is what I've been told happened to me. And I come around a bend in North Carolina, right by the close to the Chair Hall of Skyway. It's Route 107 down there in North Carolina. It's a real twisty road. I looked on the map to see how twisty it was. And that Toyota pickup truck there came straight across the corner, almost hit the motorcycle in front of me. Another Hoka Hey rider, Vernice, was riding with her husband. Her husband was in front of her. The road was a little wet. Vernice was riding about 20 miles an hour, and I wasn't pushing her. We just rode. The road was real twisty. And as we come around that turn, the truck, I never saw it. I don't remember anything about it, but it hit me hard. And I guess I flew 25 feet over those guardrails and landed in some soft grass, they said. So as I went over those guardrails, airborne, I guess, but I got impacted at some point and shattered my ankle, my left ankle, fractured my pelvis. It broke 4 ribs on the left side, 1 rib on the right side, and broke both bones in my forearm. And had a punctured lung. My spleen was damaged, and I think that's about it.
That's enough.
Yeah, that's
enough right there.
That's
Yeah.
quite enough.
My colon got damaged. My colon was damaged, and so I had some internal bleeding. But by the grace of God, by the grace of God, there was four paramedics were the first ones on the scene. They actually they were on a camping trip, and they saw the accident happen, and they were right on it, helping me out. Even before Vernice, she's the girl that almost got hit. She went down the road a little further and called 911 and said that she just saw someone commit suicide, and she thinks there's a motorcycle involved. And so her husband turned around and came back because he was in front. By the time they had got back to the scene, her husband came back to the scene. By the time he got back, those 4 paramedics were already working on me. So, I'm sure they saved my life, and thankful for that. But the guy never, just riding motorcycles, I got a lot of miles. I've put a lot of miles on motorcycles, and you always have your head on a swivel, and you're always riding like you're invisible, like nobody can see you. Well, this just happened to, this accident happened so fast. I don't remember anything. I don't think there was any way to avoid it.
Yeah.
So it's just something that happens whenever we ride motorcycles.
Yeah, it's a chance you take, but doesn't make it any easier whenever you get a phone call that somebody like you in our lives this happened to. It was and I had heard from another friend who'd said, "Hey, I hear something happened to Rob," and I knew that when I called that, obviously we're all so close that somebody was going to pick up that phone and let us know. But yeah, it was chilling when I had heard what had happened. So like I said, when I saw that video you eating, and then when you called me the Friday before you were leaving, it was like music to my ears. It was pretty awesome. I know you were happy at that point. I was pretty stoked. So I did notice. Did your benefit? You had a little benefit yesterday. Did you make that? Did you go? Wasn't there a show yesterday?
Yeah, they had a show down at JB's Roadhouse.
Yeah.
Or Roadside Bar and Grill down in Curtisville, a little town, a couple miles from my house there, a couple miles actually from all of us. You guys know where and there was 5 bands or 6 bands. They had 6 bands there, and I knew all the musicians, and I've been playing music my whole life and doing a lot of benefits. That's something that you do when you're a musician and you have a band. You get asked to play benefits, and that's what we do as artists. We get out there and we try to raise money for victims, fire. Someone's house burns down, or someone's in an auto accident, someone has cancer. We raise money for the homeless vets. We raise money for sponsor the troops. We raise money for the Special Olympics. You know, I'd probably have every year. I probably do at least 20 benefits.
Yeah.
That you know that you never know who you're going to be playing for, but some of them we do every year, and so it was so nice that just incredible that the guys all got together and did this benefit. There was also a corn crib benefit that they had another group of bands play up in about 40, well, I guess about 30 miles from my house. It was a great time. Everybody went there, and they have some T-shirts made printed up. Um, True Damn Story shirts. It's and they have corn crib had some shirts printed up and about the benefit and all the bands that were there, and you know, put my name on it. And then they have wristbands that they're selling, and they've raised a lot of money. You know, my friends have really pulled together for me, and just unbelievable the support that I've gotten from, you know, the folks that put these benefits together. And and the thing that a lot of people don't realize, I don't know if you want to get into this or not, but the guy that hit me had $30,000 insurance. That's it.
Yeah.
That $30,000 was gone immediately.
Like 3 minutes. Yeah, right.
Yeah, so there, and he's a young guy, you know, and has nothing. So there's nothing there. So, you know, I'm out of work for however long it takes me to rehab from this, and you know, we're talking, you know, who knows, 6 months, a year. And that was, you know, whenever I found out, you know, everybody said, don't worry about anything, don't worry about anything. Well, I couldn't help but worry about how my mortgage was going to get paid, you know.
Yeah.
I couldn't help worry about even the medical bills. And luckily some things are falling into place, you know, but these benefits, they are just huge, you know, to help us out, taking a big load off of my mind, and help with you know, my wife Karen's, we were down in North Carolina for 6 weeks. She had to stay in a motel down there, and with the COVID-19, they have like a Ronald McDonald house down there. As you're familiar with, the hospital, they keep you there. Well, that wasn't open because of the COVID-19. So, you know, there was all the car rentals down there, and the motels, and she had to stay at, and only one person could visit you in the hospital per day, and they couldn't leave the room. If they left the room, they weren't allowed back in because of the COVID-19. That was just their rules down there. So, you know, my wife Karen's she's not my rock, man. She's my mountain. She was there, and I had some other friends come down and stay with me. My sister come down and stay with me. My daughter Sonia came down, and she spent 3 weeks down there with me and her mother. And so there's a lot of expenses that occurred, and you don't realize, you know, how important it was for these benefits. For me, they paid for that. You know, it's just unbelievable, the outpouring that happened for me.
And all those years too, you know, that, you know, growing up around the area with each other and doing the, you know, the pig roasts and the charity ride for this and the benefit ride for that. Like, you don't really think about it. You don't think about it, you know, until you see, like, you know, we know you, we know your family, we know, you know, you're the one that's going out there and earning for the family and taking care of that family. So it's something you need to, you know, like we said in the last segment with Jason, there's nothing more important than community direct charities and taking care of the people right inside of your community. And that starts with your neighborhood, but also your motorcycle family, however long or large your radius is for that.
Yeah, thanks to working with Cycle Source Magazine for so many years, you know, and just riding in general, you know, the local community ride, doing the homeless vets rides, and the sponsor the troop rides, and, you know, the blessing of the bikes when everybody gets together, and the bike nights even, you know, you get to become friends with that motorcycle community. And then playing music, that's a whole other community that you know, live music. There's so many people that support live music, and they support you whenever, you know, when this all came down. the people that stepped it up were, you know, it just blows my mind how much support that they gave. You know, nobody had to do anything, but you feel just overwhelmed with the kindness, and because you know, I've met so many people in the motorcycle community and met so many people in the music community. The benefits have been very successful, and I'm just so thankful for that. You know, Karen and I are very, very thankful and grateful for the outpouring of love and support. You know, when I come home, there was a ramp already built on my deck. A friend of mine, John Oshie and Justin Fluger, they built me a ramp. You know, and their kids cut my grass. You know, they got in the garage and got my weed whacker out, and they trimmed my lawn. My neighbor come up with his tractor and cut my grass a couple of times. You know, just the outpouring of love and support was there from this moment I got hurt. So it's good people in this world, and I want, you know, with all the crazy news that goes on, and a lot of strangers too, a lot of people I've never met before. Unbelievable outpouring of love and support. So I just want to thank everyone that donated or had anything to do with putting the benefits together, man. From the bottom of my heart, I love you all.
Well, I know it's tough, you know, and me and Chris have talked about it, and a bunch of us have talked about it. We're not charity taking people, so obviously, you know, we know it was hard, you know, for you to even to come on something like this, and even to thank people, because you've always been the one that's given to other people.
Oh, Rebecca just said it.
Yeah.
Rob paid it forward for years.
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
you've always been a giver. You've always been there. If it wasn't, you know, not saying a monetary, but whether it was a good word or a pat in the back or a hand for whatever they needed. So it's so nice for people to, you know, you're one of those people that deserves it given back to. So, you know, the thanks, I think you've already paid that to those people, at least the majority of them. So you know, you well deserve everything that these people are giving you. And just to see you backing up and talking and home. And
yes,
like
sir.
I said to Karen, you know, shit's a little deep right now in my circle, but as soon as I get, you know, the 5 minutes to come spend time with you, you know, we definitely want to come see you. It's so on my list. It's, you know, it's on the top of my list, put it that way.
Right on. So
when I got home from the hospital, there was a welcoming committee at the bottom of the driveway. You know, some of my, you know, close friends, and I wasn't expecting it. There was, you know, balloons and signs, and you know, down in North Carolina in my hospital room, there's a huge card. Maybe Karen could grab it and just like to show you. This is, you know, the kind of support that I got was just amazing. You know, that all the nurses would come in, the doctors would come in and look at the wall with all the cards, and all the cards on the wall.
And, right on.
You know, that's they were like, man, you're well loved, and I said I sure am. You know, I could, you know, reading all the cards and the get wells, and then this was whenever I came home. This was in the driveway. So you guys can see that or not?
Yeah,
You know, just a bunch of people that took the time to say, you know, hey, get better, get well, and that support is incredible.
Hey,
you
if
know?
there's one thing we've done over all the years, we've created a huge network. So,
yeah.
You know, we've met people. We have trouble riding across the country because everybody wants to stop and say hello to them. And God, if we did that to every person we know, would never make it anywhere we had to go.
Hey, and you know what? The older we get, maybe we should.
Should do that, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but so awesome to actually hear you and see you. And,
yes, sir.
Looking forward to coming over and spending some time with you once everything settles down. So,
well, Rob, where can everybody keep up with your road to recovery so they can continue to check in on you and send you prayers and stuff through your Facebook?
Yeah, Facebook. We have I believe it's called, is it Rob's Road to Recovery? And we're keeping everybody updated through there. I believe there's a PayPal account. I hate to even ask, but it's there. There's a lot of information on there to let you know. The last benefit for this year that I know of was last night, and I was very fortunate that I was feeling good enough. I went to the benefit, and I went around and just tried to thank everybody individually.
Yeah.
And that was huge for me to be able to say thank you, to those folks.
Absolutely.
So, but here's Mark, I want to extend Karen and I's hopes and prayers for your dad, Mark. We know your dad's going through a lot of stuff right now.
Well, thanks. I really appreciate it. And
how much we love your dad, man.
Well,
and
he loves you too, and he's been saying he wants to come over. And like I said, hopefully things work out that we can get the Tuyans in the same room, because he is, between you and Bill Dodge, he asks about you two more than he asks about me. So sometimes I question if he likes you guys better than he likes me half the time. But no,
no way, brother.
Yeah, yeah, right. But he's definitely
no way.
He's definitely on the list to want to come and spend some time with you. He's been asking, so I appreciate it. He always he loves you guys too. Always enjoys spending time with you guys.
Yes, sir.
That's the greatest gift you can give someone, your time. And that's the thing. I got blessed with more time. Yeah. And I'm going to make the best of it, the most of it, and try to do, again, just try to do the right things and try to spend time with my brothers. And I can't tell anybody this more than enough. If you're thinking about somebody, call them, talk to them. Yeah. There's probably a reason you're thinking about them. They may need that phone call, Yeah. And don't, grudges and things like that, you got to let that go, man. Just it's all about love. It's not we don't live in the world that's on television right now with all that hate. Yeah, no, we don't live in that world.
No, we do not.
That's not how humans are. That's all Hollywood make believe bullshit. So you just we love each other with all our hearts, and we'll do anything for any of us, and we all know that. And you definitely got been praying for Bill Dodge. He's a great guy, good friend. I heard about his accident when I was in the hospital, and just ripped my heart out. He's such a good guy. He's helped me out so much. Opened his shop up to me. Yeah. Here, man, fix your bike. Here's all the tools you need. Here's all the, anything you need. If you need help, I'll help you. And that's how our community is. The biker community, even the music community. And just a lot of great people in this world.
Yeah, we've made some really killer connections, and again, to know that we have the opportunity to come sit in a room and just laugh about stupid stuff we've done over the years, and where we've come from and where we're at now. It's good. It's pretty awesome. So, looking forward to seeing you.
Right on, man. Well, listen, I wanna tell you, like, from all of us, you're on our mind and in our hearts. I really was so glad to get your phone call. I'm so glad, everybody's piling in here to send you prayers and everything, man. And I'm happy you could take a little bit of time tonight and get on here and show everybody that you're still out there getting it.
Yeah, I'm not giving up, man. I got another shot at this, and I'm gonna go get it. I'm grabbing it. I'm grabbing it harder than I ever grabbed it before. So.
Right on.
That's what it's all about.
I'm doing every breath. Every breath.
Well, I'll be over shortly. As soon as I finish this issue of the magazine, I'm gonna come sit around. We're gonna play some guitar.
It sounds great, man. Looking forward to it.
All right, buddy. You take it easy.
I love you guys.
I love you too, Rob.
So yeah, between him and Bill Dodge this year, Jesus.
Yeah, it's been tough.
Now that I got Rob off the phone, I'm gonna make sure that I tell each one of you guys there's a GoFundMe page. Please do what you can. Here's a man that takes care of his whole family. He's the sole earner for his household, and he's going to be down for quite a long time with the extensive injuries that he suffered through this accident. Looks like his GoFundMe is up around $26,500, but it's going to be a long road. So if you have a couple bucks, man, throw it in the pot. Rally for Rob Keller on GoFundMe. Just search for the name Rob Keller. There's his picture there. Anything you can do, we appreciate it from the bottom of our heart. I know him and his family will as well. We went way, way over on Showtime tonight. I sincerely apologize, but it's not like...
It was a great show. You can't stop a good conversation. You know?
It really was. It really was. So I think with that, though, we're going to hold off. The news was kind of chicken shit anyway, I got to tell you. Like, the only... Here, let me give you the highlights. Harley-Davidson stocks are doing better. Biketoberfest was slightly down, but it still went on, so to hell with that. Then the rest of the shit we'll get to next week. Until we come back to you live with another installment of Shop Talk, Sundays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, through the courtesy of Dennis Kirk Motorcycle Studio here, street level at Cycle Source Magazine World Headquarters, where Heather is violating people's sanctity with a shameless dog plug. That's my dog, damn it.
No, but he opened the door and we just jumped up.
I'm going to do sound effects until the dog freaks out.
Oh,
he doesn't have earplugs.
All right. Well, listen, man, we're going to cut you guys loose. Thanks for sticking with us for a long show tonight. It was a long but very important show. Yeah. Some great stuff going on out there. Remember, you can do your part to add to the list of great things that happen simply by being nice to the neighbor. Take a minute, do it. I know he's an old prick that yells at you for your loud pipes, but it'll be okay.
You know what's funny is that's you now.
Well, I'm the old guy. I was the young guy that the neighbor used to get pissed about. Listen.
You're the old guy with
why do we got to go there? Why all the time you got to go to me being old? Why do you have to do that? And that's when I killed her, Your Honor.
I don't know why. I had to kill him. Well.
Flashbacks from Telltale Heart. All right, man. We're going to wrap this one up. Go out, do something with the motorcycle, even if it's just in the garage. Make it happen. Till next week when we come back. Same chopper time.
Same chopper channel.
Bye, Felicia.